Everything is what I wanted to be. I look exactly like what you had always wanted to see. When I pretend, I can forget about the criminal I am. Stealing second after second just cause I know I can. But I can't pretend this is the way it'll stay. I'm just trying to bend the truth. I can't pretend I'm who you want me to be. So I'm lying my way from you. No turning back now. I wanna be pushed aside, so let me go. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to the stream. Do you want a reaction stream or do you want ranked? The main man Nova Saiken reaction. You tell me what you want. Reaction or Tekken 8 ranked? Depending on what the people say, we do that. Reaction joined. Okay, so I turn off then the game. Yeah? Everything for the inside. Thank you. Okay, then we do reaction joint. Well, thank you, Jupe. Okay. Moin, moin.
You look sharp today, am I? How come? I think I look like shit. Do you want me to start with Nova Cycles video or the main man video? The main man. Okay. Okay. And these comments are rough. I've seen the comments already, obviously. So, congratulations, you played yourself. Bro got taken off Bandai Namco's payroll. You ought to apologize to Nova Cycles. Nova Cycles spoke of this. You should apologize. I think Nova said something about this. I guess Nova was right. So Nova was right. Justice for Nova. So Nova was correct. So Nova was right. So Nova was right. Oh, so all those things that you clowned Nova for. Instead of hysterically laughing the second Nova speaks, you could have engaged honestly. Maybe the main man engaged with Nova Cycles in good faith. We could have gotten this. So Nova was right, bro. Every single comment is like that. Every single comment is like that. And I told you guys this fucking when I say to the people that like the main man to maybe tell him a little bit, hey bro, this like vibe that you do lately, not lately but for a long time, where you say something to someone, accuse them of something, and then you change your opinion to the exact thing that that person that you were shitting on was saying. He does that all the time, bro. And after some time it just becomes so obvious that he will get like, this is bad. This is really bad. It doesn't matter how much you like the main man, this is just obvious. Okay, let's see what he says.
12 damage on block. Yay! I took 12 damage because I blocked. 12 damage on block. Yay! I took 12 damage because I blocked.
Is he actually the easiest Mishima to play? No. I think it's Jin. The easiest characters in this game.
Do you think Jin is harder to play or Heihachi? Serious question. No, I think it's not a hot take to say Jin is maybe easier. But I think Heihachi is easier personally. Heihachi is very free, bro. Heihachi is very free. I just had like a training session with Joker. And bro, this shit was... Hey bro, this is so hard to defend against this stuff, bro. It is so hard to defend against this stuff, man. Heihachi is so simple and so effective that makes him easier, I would say. Overall, I think the game plan is just easier with Heihachi. You just go in. You go in, you go in, you go in. And you can't step that character. Like they say, you can't step Heihachi, bro. Heihachi stepping is very, very situational.
They don't have to rely on like knowledge to play you. That's why Asuka is the easiest character in the game, because she doesn't have to know anything about counterplay or anti-character knowledge or how to defend through spacing.
I think the same thing that he says here can be applied to Claudio. Claudio is also, for the male characters, he is the Asuka. He is easy to play. He doesn't require any knowledge. You can fuck up the best players in the world with this character with mediocre Tekken skill. It's really obnoxious. Like you, I don't want to shit on Hasboy to be honest, but when I watch his gameplay, it's also just AI generated slop. He doesn't want to acknowledge this and say, yeah, everyone plays like this, blah, blah, blah. But the character is just so broken that you cannot appreciate it.
Blocking, fuzzy guarding, you know, step, crouch, you know, all of these intricacies we do to counter characters. That takes thousands of hours. Thousands of hours to acquire. It's the hardest thing to learn about this game, you know, by far.
Nova's after this.
As soon as your character has stuff like this, it cannot be overstated how much easier it is for you now. This applies more to like the waifus, Zafina, Asuka, Lydia. They don't know a thing about Tekken, but they will hit God of Destruction. They will, and it's because of this aspect of the game, but they don't have to learn anything. Their entire game plan is tricking you, like throwing sand into your eyes and then stabbing you in the back. They enrich the game in that they have a very unique way of playing, which is good. Not every character should be the same. Tekken is great in this regard, but they're very frustrating to play against. And this is compounded by the fact that those tricks are hard to learn how to deal with. And also those characters are extremely rare. You very rarely get to play against a Zafina and a Xiaoyu, and when you do, oh my god, you better know what you're doing, otherwise you get blown up. And these matchups can also not be learned on the go as you're playing against them. When you play against Kazuya, when you play against King, when you play against...
I beg to differ, you play against King?
Paul, you can acquire information as you are dealing in real time with the player and the character.
I don't know about that, bro. I don't know if this applies to King, I'll be very honest with you. What do you want to acquire there down forward too?
As you're playing the match, you can sort of figure things out. That does not work with Xiaoyu and Zafina. They require a very large amount of dedicated labbing and very precise understanding of what you are allowed to do during that matchup and what you are not allowed to do during that matchup. Otherwise, you get blown up in 1 second. And also, they are very rare, making them far from your priority when you're trying to learn Tekken. Because most of you are like Bushin, maybe Fujin, Raijin, maybe Tekken King. You are focusing on how do I deal with Brian? How do I deal with Kazuya? How do I deal with Horang? How do I deal with Heihachi? These are, or King, these are characters you will encounter so much more, right? When you have moves like this, or hop kicks, you are incentivized to, rather than learn what Heihachi can do, or whatever character you're going up against, or how to duck, how to move away, can this be stepped, can this be stepped duck, can I punish that? So how do you circumvent that? How do you shortcut? Well, I can't be bothered. Here's my power crush. Here's my power crush, here's my rage art, here's my samsara, here's my up for 2. That is literally 1,000 times easier to do than to actually learn the core mechanics and acquire the knowledge to deal with the characters with conventional Tekken defensive answers. So that is why, in my opinion, Jin, at the end of the day, is the easiest Mishima, because he has a very strong samsara. Very strong, that he can even acquire from stance, right? From a mid check here at +2, I'm threatening you with a samsara that is 14 frame startup. That's only 1 frame slower than a down forward 1. And it is only -16. This is difficult to punish. Like, even for even a high level player can miss that punish, because you gotta be so fast and sharp on this. And of course, if a Heihachi player, when you play against a Heihachi or a Kazuya, if they want to launch this, they have to electric at -16. That's very far from like easy. The characters that get carried the hardest in terms of ranks and wins are the characters that have these sorts of responses. So rather than learn Tekken, I can press a button and I'm good to go, right? It's been taken too far since Tekken 5 with the introduction of Lily. But panic buttons have like power crept for a long time now. We look at June and Asuka, who have this universal Sabaki reversal here. This is a launcher. Should I go with conventional defense? I'll just do this. It sort of answers everything. And Asuka's and June's will do stuff like, oh, a move that's safe on block. Oh, I'll do a can-can. Oh, jab, can-can. So this is something you acquire in 10 hours. It's not something that takes hundreds of hours, right? This is the Sabaki, right? So any mid and high, you get blown up. Like, I just launched you. Neutral on block. Granted, it is a high, but this still remaining neutral on block is puzzling to me. And then in terms of what I said in that power creeping these panic buttons, look no further than down 1+2 and similar attacks. So on June, you press down 1+2, and it's a little bit slow in startup at 26.
Hello.
Do note that, I mean, Devil Jin Samsara it is 20 plus, right? I think it's 20 plus. It's not that slow. But when you unpack what this move does, it's pretty crazy. Like, This is safe on block at -9.
I think the biggest problem about this move is here it crushes highs and it crushes mids. It's just... it's not fair. Maybe I play,
And you
maybe.
also notice that it damages June a bit.
For now, chat wants reactions.
But my opponent takes a similar amount of damage. So chip damage. This move is a natural hit launcher for very high damage. This move also gets buffed with my install. When that reaches 100, it hits even harder. It has very long range. It also steel pedals on the ground. This is also evasive because June, when she... oh, sorry. During the startup here, you'll note that she ducks down, right? Plenty of moves like these have been added in Tekken 8. It's just panic buttons. I'm just sitting there like, what's the penalty for using this? It hits no matter where I am almost on the screen, even if I'm grounded. Does a huge amount of damage, pancake flips me, it's evasive, full launch, and it's safe. It's -9 on block. There's many moves like this. They homogenize the roster and they power crap the roster for Tekken 8. Everyone knows this. It's very similar to I'm a dinosaur, so I was around back then.
I think we need to watch this so we can get more understanding of what Nova's trying to say.
I knew Moses, you know. From Tekken 4 to Tekken 5, they did the same thing. People speak very highly of Tekken 5, so do I, but it's so unbelievably broken, that game. And I still think Tekken 8 characters, when I compare it to Street Fighter 6, that's a more homogenized game than even Tekken 8 Season 2. And Tekken characters have more identity when you look at Yoshi, Xiaoyu, King, Armor King, Kazuya, but they have homogenized a lot. And look no further than Asuka or June to notice this. So as we talked about before, these characters were meant to be very defensive. Easy, beginner, pick up and play characters because of all of the aforementioned, rather than learn how to play the game. That, right? Everyone understands this, right? But so how did they break the character? By going... but why isn't she competitive? Oh, you need to be able to attack. What can we do here? I gotta say her attacks are not that good. She tries to mix people with this that has poor range and a down 1+2 knockdown low into follow-up. It's got poor range. What do we do? Okay, step 1. Increase the range of down 1+2. Prior, she would have to like literally kissing distance or boob touch distance to get this to work. But so they buff the hitbox of down 1+2, and now she actually has a very frightening 50-50. Because of the damage output, the sheer damage output of it, and how far away she can be from you and threaten you with mids and this low. Step 2 was going, give her a homing, right? A running homing that wall splat.
This is basically what Nova and me were trying to say when you were shitting on us. For no reason, like always. Where we said they made the characters in such a way that they buff out the defensive options so that it covers all options. And then he responded, yeah, but people need to be able to mix you up. It's a mix up and stuff like this. You are not supposed to just option select everything. How boring is that? Sidestep left into duck. You know, you remember this probably. And this is where I get really upset with him, and he will probably never stop, and he will probably die before admitting that he was wrong. Like legit, the main man would rather get thrown into the volcano Heihachi throw Kazuya into before admitting, hey guys, maybe I was wrong, I am sorry. He can never ever do that. Like if the main man wants to have a serious character development arc, because as much as you think you are smarter than all of us and more mature and all this shit, you are not.
That does a fuck ton of damage, so it's a homing high, and it's plus frames. The devs were like, why doesn't Asuka have plus frames? And then they go, maybe she should have an install, and let's call it bokeh. So now
he knows what he is talking about. You don't play in his ranks.
Now this happens. So now the same move gets an install property, which now makes this a launcher for a bazillion damage, and for some reason plus 11 on block. And she gets forward 1 plus 2, which is a knockdown mid.
That's his just. Oh, okay.
And as you can see, -6 here. But
thought,
if I
like,
have
what does he
install,
say?
this is now just like that homing high. It's a full launch. Insta screws, right? Just like the homing high. But this one, of course, is a mid. And what do you do with this on block? +2. This is already not a fun mix-up to deal with. And especially when you now include into the calculation the buffed down 1 plus 2 with more range. And then they were like, well, we're not done. She kind of needs more offense, in my opinion. Where's the offense? So now they're like, well, from full crouch, where she's threatening you with this low, this is a legacy low. That's always been super strong. Because as you can see, it's only -11 on block. On hit, it's neutral. But what's important here is, of course, this property, right?
Here she can launch you, by the way.
The counter it property. Takes no execution. $65 damage, and I believe it actually gives me my install back as well. As you can see when I connect this kick. Hachimachi poke!
She can down forward 2 here also.
This is also very bad for the game because the installs are way too strong. So as soon as the characters have stuff like this, where they get their install for free, it just breaks the game. Heat giving infinite install was always a super bad idea. Like 65 damage from that low. And then she gets her install on top of it, and now she's threatening you again with this. And you're just sitting there like, is this a defensive character? It's a bit like Brian, you know, getting a power crush that's -13 in Season 2. But if he lands it, he gets his install.
This is what we didn't understand, Adrian, when you used to say that we were complaining about Tekken 8 characters being homogenized, and you said that's not true. Now characters have more unique gameplay, and the uniqueness is that they have everything, so therefore not unique. So the character identity is lost, and you were like pretending as if we have more character identity. I don't know how to even get this into this man's brain. Maybe he's too old, bro. I don't know.
Install, and you're like, isn't Power Crush good enough the way it is? It's a long range -13 mid that wall splat, and he gets fucking snake eyes if he hits it on me. Like at a certain point, you just go like, I'm sorry. The defensive character was then given this as well. So this is a charge up mid, and again, she's bullying you with this, and then comes this, also from crouch, +8 on block, 26 frame startup, not that bad. Like, +8 on block, does how much damage on block? 12 damage on block, yay! I took 12 damage because I blocked. And if she hits it, I do believe like this is guaranteed, no? This isn't it, like, help me out here. Yeah, 51 fucking damage into bouquet, and take my install again.
Don't mention his mother, please.
And got
Just don't
something
mention his
similar
mom.
here. This charge up.
It's
Note
just
that
Tekken.
if she thinks you're not going to respect her, you know, she wants these frames. She wants 10 chip damage into +7 on you. But if she thinks you're not going to respect, she just lets go early and is still safe. Still safe. Same for this mid. Still safe. This is the defensive character, right? So that turned into a gigantic rant, but that was a little bit about what makes a character easy, what characters carry hard, and also you got a little bit about what happened in terms of like power creep in Tekken 8, homogenization. All characters should be able to play aggressive, even if by nature we are a defensive character. And also how Tekken 8, in my opinion, did the cardinal sin of taking the easiest characters in the game, a character that can be piloted by some bacteria you find on a public toilet, give that bacteria a DualSense controller, and they can get God of Destruction on Asuka. You give that easy character the best moves in the game. Oh boy, I wonder how that's gonna turn out. And lo and behold, you have Season 2 of Tekken 8. Yeah.
Okay, that was the main man contradictions. Everything that you just said, we tried to tell you and you were shitting on us. This is like the history of Tekken 8, your history. Everyone knows this, and as much as you want to pretend, yeah, I don't care what they say, this and that, yeah, that's the problem, you don't care. That's the problem, you don't care to a point where you will like fabricate a narrative that suits your point of view to such an extent where everyone else is idiots until you say it, and then it becomes okay. But when someone says something before you that doesn't go into your fucking direction, then immediately idiots, he's a pseudo-intellectual, oh yeah, Medusa is basically a Nazi because he speaks about Jews and all this shit. Like, it doesn't matter. But this is what it is, bro. You're really insufferable, man.
Again, you're misinforming the Tekken community and no one dares to confront you. This is a lie, and like always, it is up to me to prove it. This video is a part of the Saving Tekken 8 project, where I break it down in forensic detail, the flaws of modern Tekken design philosophy.
Nova Saiken is pretty smart. No, he's not smart. He wants you to believe he's smart. He's like a fake intellectual. He uses big words. And dumb people are fooled by that. They hear big words and then they think he's smart. He's not.
You know, you remind me of a specific country, Adrian, I must say this also. Because every time they accuse the opposing side of something, it's like they talk about themselves. Fake intellectual, just using big words, deceives people. All these attributes are belonging to you.
Not smart. He thinks he's smart. He's like a 14-year-old edgelord.
14-year-old edgelord who is making fart jokes on stream all the time. Dick jokes and all this shit. You do that.
You're talking to yourself.
First attempt between you and Nova Saiken. Nova Saiken. Is there even a video of him playing Tekken? I assume he's garbage. I think he's probably really good at like wave dashing, back dashing, but I think he's gonna be garbage at, you know, strategy, anti-character stuff, you know.
I think you have bad matchup knowledge, actually. This is also an admission, interestingly enough, but you actually don't know a lot of matchups. When I watch you play, you don't know it. Really, you don't know.
You're talking to yourself.
Man, this is the clearest case of a projection if I've ever seen one myself. You're talking to yourself. I don't know strategy. I don't know character-specific matchups. Man, you're a combo video maker. Get a grip. I mean, are you for real? You have been caught multiple times not knowing basic move properties. It is not I who keep asking for advice to my audience for basic knowledge, frame data and move properties mid-match. Because I actually studied this game.
What do I do? Do I just try and dick jab or power crush? Can't do anything. I can't do anything. I can't do anything.
Round 2. Fight.
But I'm stepping right, but I can't fucking step it!
Because you don't know the time.
I am stepping right! Imagine sidesteps in Tekken 8. Sidesteps have never been stronger than they are right now.
Dude, this game is your livelihood. You make a living out of this game. A guy like me could only dream to be even remotely close to such a position you happen to enjoy. I mean, being able to play one of my favorite games and earning a decent living through it. And there's that. Despite you having the opportunity to live and breathe this game, you are the one to this very day failing in basic matchup knowledge, not me.
Just so tiresome playing this game. It's so tiresome. The character is so fucking stupid. Such a stupid character.
Let that sink in. I have around 1400 matches on Tekken 8. As a traditional Tekken enthusiast, the current state of Tekken 8 disgusts me. I only play this game because I have a debt to the people that made it possible for me to play modern games. Even so, despite me not even being invested in Tekken 8, I happen to be much more educated on this game than you are. I studied the game much more than you ever did, because the extent of your knowledge is what you see on ranked. You're a ranked animal. I'm more of a practice mode and a lobby animal. We're not the same. You played this game for like 3 years already, right? And to this very day, you didn't know Victor Yaijutsu sweep would fully track both sides, for instance.
Is it possible to step Valai sword sweep? So I'm not crazy, this is actually homing.
I mean, what you're talking about is like a Tekken game where homing attacks don't exist.
People are so dumb. People don't know about this. They don't know. There are characters where it's actually real 50-50. There's no option select.
And when we say this, then, oh, you guys, you just wanna sidestep duck everything. You're talking about a game where the homing moves don't even exist. Yeah, it is clear to me that these guys have no clue what they are talking about, and all they use is big words. Right, Adrian?
There's no option select.
Of course, Victor has an option to beat you if you step left. Of course, can you imagine if he had nothing he could do, and you could just step left and beat everything he does? It would be unplayable. And what you're doing wouldn't even be impressive because it's completely brain dead. All attacks are linear, no homing attacks. You should have an option select that beats everything. You should just be able to step left and no one can do anything.
People don't know this. People don't know this. When he's doing his wall stuff on you, all you can do is guess. All you can do is guess because there's no option select.
I mean, this video is unbelievable. Breaking news and fighting games, there are things characters can do to try and counter the option selects. Characters can try and counter your counter. Breaking fucking news, everyone.
You don't truly lab this game, and that's why you take so much stuff out of your ass and misinform your audience over and over and over and over and over again. And I'll prove this once again with another recent example. Once again, you're misinforming your audience. You're taking stuff out of your ass because you don't lab the game. What baffles me is that no one dares question you. No one dares to confront you.
But so how did they break the character? By going...
No, there is people that dare to confront him, but then he will go on a rant in front of 2,000 people, make lies about you, basically. Or say, for example, Medusa legit doxed me. He doxed me, even though it never happened. And then when you get confronted by other people in your chat that I never did it, I will not apologize to that guy. How many people does he need to apologize? Like a little child, yeah? And then you ban every mention of said person that you wronged. And it's not only me, it's probably everyone. Like the main man, like you can't mention Planted Medusa. You can't mention Nova Saiken. You can't mention Moonsault Slayer. You can't mention this, that. Like, why do you do this? Because you don't care? No, because it breaks your narrative. But thank God. God gave me also a platform, and a very respectable one. After all the attacks, somehow I'm still here. I'm still thriving. I still have my people that will defend me over people like you. But I am very happy that you are finally getting exposed what you do to everyone.
Why isn't she competitive? Oh, you need to be able to attack. What can we do here? I gotta say her attacks are not that good. She tries to mix people with this that has poor range and a down 1+2 knockdown low into follow-up. But it's got poor range. What do we do? Okay, step 1. Increase the range of down 1+2. Increase the range of down 1+2. Prior, she would have to like literally kissing distance or boob touch distance to get this to work. But so they buff the hitbox of down 1+2, and now she actually has a very frightening 50-50 because of the damage output, the sheer damage output of it.
No, Asuka down 1+2, her ground punch, did not have its range enhanced in Tekken 8. Stop misinforming your audience. The reason this move became
what's
so
good, boys?
obnoxious
Welcome.
and insufferable is because we can't backdash for shit in this game.
And this is what we meant when we said, hey, we can't move away from the moves. We can't backdash. What, you think the only cool thing about the game is a very good mechanical skill on the backdash? Brrr, back electric, brrr, back electric. I'm not perfectly inclined to believe that. I don't think that's a good game. I think you should option select with sidesteps. And then when we're talking about the sidestep, yeah, you're talking about the game where homing moves don't even exist. It's like the episode of SpongeBob where Patrick says, let's just take the city and move it somewhere else. You continuously just move the goalpost and make it out to seem like everyone else is retarded, but only you are smart.
Now, you couple that with the other ultra-offensive free win super button she received, and there you have the recipe for disaster.
A very good point, very good point.
And it is precisely thanks to people like you that we can't backdash in this game.
I should always be able to spam my backdash so Steve can't do anything. Would that be a good fighting game? Say you got the game you wanted.
By quote-unquote Tekken game I wanted.
And this is exactly what we also said when we were talking about this. Then all of a sudden people started to say, yeah, maybe he changed his opinion. Like how retarded people are. So he plays the game for 20 years and says all the time from Tag 2 to Tekken 7 they nerfed the backdash, so it got even worse in Tekken 7 where it's better than Tekken 8. There he complained. Now Tekken 8's Bandai Namco payroll and he doesn't want to get cut out of the fucking pie. Yeah, but I don't know what they are talking about. Backdashing, well, you want to run away all the time and then you attack him or you criticize him for basically shilling and not even saying his real opinion. That's even the worst part. Yeah, the main man just changed his opinion. Can people not change their opinion? Yeah, sure, you gaslight yourself.
You must realize you're talking about the Tekken game you, the main man, wanted years ago.
Would that be a great fighting game if you can just backdash away from every type of offense, mindlessly backdash? Is that a good fighting game? And I just feel like Tekken 7 you could backdash out of a lot of situations, and I'm not sure that made for a better game. Being able to defend by simply mechanical skill was not that interesting to me. Just move away. I'm not sure that's super interesting. Because honestly, this is a brain dead sequence. Get a hitbox, and just spam backdash, and you just move away. Sure, you pressed buttons quickly.
Because of how dangerous he is, I stated that you must disengage to operate at a desirable range where Steve's
You
weapons
must
do not work,
disengage.
but yours do. It doesn't
You must disengage.
You must disengage. Steve is so dangerous that you always have to move 3 meters away. I can't take this guy seriously. Not a single
We
word
can't
out
take
of his
you
mouth can I
seriously.
take seriously. Those of you who recommend that I watch this, like, go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves. This video is fucking brain cancer.
Since you can't backtrack on the fact that you advocated for sabotaged movement in Tekken 8, you now have to create a fake reality in which Asuka down 1+2 had its range enhanced. It seems I'm the only one who has the balls to confront you. How come no one calls you out when
Okay, no, Nova, shut the fuck up. You're not the only one. I've been doing this very long. Fuck you. Okay, keep going.
you misinformed the entire Tekken community? You're the most successful content creator. You're supposed to be a beacon of good faith and credibility. For someone who has this game as his own livelihood, that is shameful in my opinion. You get the luxury to play this shit every single day if you feel like it, and you still fail on essential knowledge multiple times. How is that even possible? I play this game 50 times less frequently than you do, and I still happen to be more educated on this game than you are. Verifiably so, by the way. How is that even possible? Now you tell me, are you in a position to try to undermine anyone's knowledge on Tekken, considering your own shameful position? Are you serious, bro? Is that even real?
How do I feel about beef sets? Unbelievably childish. Unbelievably childish.
Unbelievably childish, yeah? Wait a second. Wait a second. Now we got to bring out the receipts. How childish it is, right? Because it is childish once someone does it that is not called the main man sui. But when it's called the main man sui, then it's all of a sudden not childish. And all of a sudden people get asked to set up beef sets for him. Because it would be great content. Makes you wonder. But this is a pattern that we notice with the main man Sui now for a very long time. He does something, it is right. You do something, it is wrong. And if you were right and then he realizes it that there's no way out of this, he will just pretend as if he had this opinion all along. And never apologize even. Never. So what is this, ladies and gentlemen? What is this? The main man versus Faribors.
Indeed. Indeed.
First to 10.
Okay, first fight is starting.
Faribors versus the main man. Your biggest beef that you had all the time with this guy. You were beefing with him for such a long time. Medusa, can you set up a set between me and Faribors? Because when I ask him, he will not do it. How come here beef sets were cool, bro? How come here it was cool? But now it is childish? What happened? What did change? And this is not the only one, this is just the one that I set up for you. You had bare beef sets. But yeah, you will just, when someone will mention my name, you will just ban me, or ban my name, or ban the person that mentions me in any form. Medusa, Medusa, the good old planted Medusa, the German guy, blah blah blah. You do that with everyone, man. Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't agree with you. You, man. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna solo you, man. Yo, 1v1, let's go. I'll beat you in the first 10, man. Q. Just like, if grown men do that, I'm just like, Yeah, I don't know. In kindergarten, I would do something like that. As for rebards, personally, I find that to be for fucking rebards. They get a lot of views. That's great. I don't do things for views, though.
Wait, what?
I don't do things for views, though.
You don't do things for views. My neighbor, you sold your soul for the views. You gave up your integrity for the damn clicks. You literally relinquished your true self to be where you are. Get out of here. I can't even.
But yes, I just said that Tekken 7 would be a better game, in my opinion, if you buffed the movement and made it closer to Tekken 5 instead of quite limited movement we have today. And you couple this with the most oppressive hitboxes you've ever seen in a Tekken game. Moves track more, moves have more range, and you have these super mids that, you know, hit extremely far, homing, very low mid hitboxes. You know, like Cloud your back one, Asuka forward 3, King forward.
And this is the exact reason why we say that he lies and he doesn't even say his real opinion. He just looks in your face, he says his opinion, he will swear it is his opinion. And then people that say he doesn't say his real opinion say, yeah, that those guys are crazy. And Arthur, stop with Planted Medusa with his conspiracy theories. Everything true, by the way. Epstein files are out. You can go check it. And fucking, I am like, what is this guy, bro? I was never friends with that fucking dude that sits there now in streams. I was friends with this, the main man, not with this fucking main man that we have. What is this timeline even? I feel like I went into some sort of parallel universe where it's like the evil main man, Margin main man or some shit. Babidi took over.
Forward 1. A lot of characters have these, and they are...
Weren't you on good terms with the main man? I used to be, bro, not anymore. Bro, he accused me of doxing him in front of 3,000 people, even though I didn't do it. And when he got exposed for it, that I didn't do it, he just banned my name.
If you combine those with the restricted movement, you're gonna have a bad time.
You know, and he represents the modern Tekken, Tekken 7. Back, you see this with all of the new characters basically and DLC characters. They have these crazy over-the-top moves that just limit your opponent's defensive options. Reduce defensive options and reduce movement. What does that do with the game?
That being said, you are right in one regard. The concept of beef sets to prove who's right is childish and pointless indeed, because in a discussion, in a debate, beef sets won't prove who's right or who's wrong in the matters of game data. That much is true. Only objective truth proves who's right. And objective truth lies in the matters of game data. These are numerical values that can be measured, quantified, studied. What are these move properties in particular currently? How did they used to be in the past? Can this move track? How much did it used to track in the past? Can I move laterally on this specific interaction? Can I space this move to make it whiff? If not, could I make it whiff in the past? Here is where objective truth lies. And so far, main man, only I have brought the receipts. Only I actually engaged in intellectual debate. You claim I'm stupid. You claim I'm a fake intellectual or whatever. Okay, but where's your rebuttal? Where's the substance to your counter-argument beyond personal attacks? You have been personally attacking me for years without ever proving me wrong. I showed with living, material, unquestionable proof. You lied and misinformed your audience time and time and time and time and time again. Every single one of my claims can be easily verified by anyone with access to practice mode. No one has to take my words at face value. They can verify for themselves every single one of my claims. And the only time I've ever made a methodological mistake, a numerical mistake, I made sure to retract it and apologize for it, which you never once did. I happen to put truth and truth only above everything else. You only care about your image above everything else. Again, we're not the same. And on the same note, I don't believe you have a critical view of beef sets for the same reasons I do. The reason you're bashing the so-called beef sets is you're just afraid of getting smoked by someone in a beef set and your ego would be hurt. We're absolutely not the same. I'm not against the existence of these so-called beef sets. They're just entertainment. They bring the community together to celebrate a rivalry, the making of Stuff of Legends. They ultimately don't prove anything aside from one player being the better player than the other that one day. If you treat them as such, as just entertainment, there's nothing wrong with them. Rivalries in the fighting game community are supposed to be cool and healthy. Well, ours isn't, of course, but for totally different reasons. Our rivalry is not healthy because you lied to your audience so much in order to have me disenfranchised, to deplatform me, to paint me as an evil, harmful figure so that I become...
You know how much fucking hate, how many attacks I got everywhere I went, on Twitter, on here, on there. People needed to get fucking timeouted, banned. Why do you dox the main man? Why did you dox the main man? He has a child, the main man has a child. You are crazy, you should be put into jail, blah blah blah. And then I got doxed, funnily enough, my work and everything. But that was okay. What kind of a human being are you even?
Persona non grata. You use your massive following of hundreds of thousands of subscribers to punch down, personally attack and disenfranchise me when I proved you were lying. The reason Tekken 8 is in this sorry state is because of people like you who sold their souls and played the role of shills and deceived the entire Tekken community with historical revisionism regarding traditional Tekken movement. I want you to know this. History will remember what you've done. And history will also remember those who fought for Tekken. The only reason I took this state of madness upon myself and started this crusade for Tekken was precisely because of the inaction or bad faith from the mainstream Tekken influencers. The moment they either silenced or ran blatant propaganda for strict self-interest to the detriment of the experience of everyone else is the moment they betrayed the trust and the prestige the community granted them. Silence is also a form of consent. Particularly this form of tacit, deafening silence.
Yeah, okay, but the thing is, guys, you don't need to like the way he talks and stuff. But the moment where you disregard his points and you just focus on the way he delivers it, you do the same what the main man does. Ha ha ha, he's such an idiot, edgelord, blah blah blah. But the fucking talk has merit. You know, who cares how he talks? Like, who gives a shit? I also talk like a caveman even. Who cares, man?
Those who silenced or lied do not deserve the prestige they have. In every community, we expect a better class of leaders. We expect people who can set an example, a higher standard. People willing to put truth and virtue above everything else, even to their own detriment if need be.
As long as Mayman won't be exposed as a PDF, his career won't die. Yeah, but that is something that we don't want. Because in my opinion, diminishing someone else's light is not gonna make yours shine brighter. Even though the Mayman appears to go by that for some reason, trying to just put everyone down and lift himself up. But yeah, we don't want him to fucking lose his, like, whatever he has. We just want him to stop doing this fucking bullshit. Gaslighting, attacking everyone, and pretending as if he is the person that is getting attacked. He's always putting himself into the victim position, and then in order to not look like a weakling, he says, yeah, but I actually don't care about them. You know, you do. You do care.
If there's one thing that gives me comfort, is that truth will always prevail in the end. And I can sleep at peace knowing that. But can you, the main man? That is the question for the ages. At the same time, I'm tired. It is all so tiresome. Well, it's up to you guys, the spectators, to share this video. Because once again, I cannot do the sharing myself. I am silenced, disenfranchised, and deplatformed everywhere I go. My entire playlist is there for anyone to see the truth. It's up to you guys. We'll be seeing each other again. God bless. Oh, by the way, Mayman, this commissioned art is my courtesy to you. I made sure to tell the artist, Soraisen, to make you as cool as possible. I mean, a true, legitimate chat. If you like the art, which I believe you will, you're free to use in your videos. I even take upon myself to personally give you the PNG, as long as you promise to credit the artist. But take it as yours to use as you wish. Anyway, let's just call it a professional courtesy. I'm pretty positive you would love to use this one in your content production, so it is yours. You can contact me by reaching out or sending someone else to get this PNG for you.
After winning the King of Iron...
Okay, GG's, that was good. We can keep on reacting. There's more videos. Apparently, Nova made an... No, the main man did another one. And, yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. Alright. Is there anything you want to talk about before I go to the next video? Man.
When you have moves like this, or a hop kick.
You know what? It would be very cool to watch an old main man video. Where he talks to Arslan Esh. And says that he should flush the game and shit. It's always good to go back to that, bro. Always good. Shameless. Absolutely shameless. I have to find it. Oh, it takes a long time to find it, guys. Wait a second. Okay. Just watch this video one more time and look how painful it is. I'm gonna remove my camera for a second. Look how painful it was to argue and try to speak for this game and advocate for a better direction while he was shilling the game with no tomorrow as if his life is depending on it. Like, it was crazy.
It and they feel miserable when they play it, but they can't quit. It's like you're addicted to it. And I don't think you never want to have a relationship like that to a game. Because then what's the point? You're never gonna learn anyway. You're just like, what are you doing? Every time you play the game, you should have some enjoyment. And like, oh, I landed a clean counter hit. Oh, nice throw setup. Like, this is stuff I feel every time I play Tekken. I guess I'll explain it again. Arslan just tweeted saying, I'm getting kinda depressed with Tekken 8. It sounds like he's getting a burnout on the game, which is very unfortunate. That sucks, and it can happen. He doesn't want to play it anymore, it's starting to feel repetitive, and he feels like, fuck, the gameplay loop is just launch someone, take them to the wall, apply a wall combo, and then they gotta wake up and take the mix-up, right? That's what he said. He feels like, fuck, this is the gameplay loop shit. I'm getting depressed with this shit.
Is it not?
And I'm like, welcome to the club. Like, welcome to the party. This has been Tekken for 20 years, and arguably any modern mainstream fighting game, Street Fighter, combo starter, corner carry, at the corner, congrats, take the throw loop, take the shimmy, take the mix-up, right? And you're forced to stand back up all the time. And they can drive rush in, and now you can even knock someone down in the neutral, drive rush in, and take the and give an Oki mix-up on wake up, right? So I'm just like, okay, well, to me it just seems like, well, welcome to Tekken, pal, and welcome to fighting games. It just also was ironic to me because Tekken 7 had an even worse example of this with Akuma, which was a very popular character in Pakistan.
And this is the gaslighting, bro. Worst example, Akuma. Akuma, now every character's Akuma. The drive system, the heat system is the meta system. The heat dash is when Akuma does down 3 into another mix. Even if you guess right, he has plus frames, and then he does another mix. Every character in the game does this now. When he has meta, he gets a 10-frame launcher. Now Law has a 10-frame counter launcher. G-Clef, every character lasts and shit. And then you have fucking combo extensions through a heat dash, which is spending the meter, which Akuma also did. So everything that you're criticizing here, Tekken 7 had a worse example of it. Yeah, that worse example became the entire game.
And they put him on the map. How many tournaments did Atif but crush playing the super broken Akuma? That's why I don't see what you're saying. You're like, oh, what's your point? People complained about Tekken 7 as well. Well, I'm just saying Arslan is complaining now, and I didn't hear too much of that with Akuma. Or was it more okay with Akuma? Do you get it?
No, I don't get it.
Tekken 7,
you don't get it.
Now. Akuma was all over Pakistan. They all had a pocket Akuma. Everyone played Akuma. And he had the worst example of this that has ever been seen in a Tekken game. 80% damage into a unseeable +7 on block low that did 90 damage, half your health bar. Like, do you understand? Or knocks you up, tech trap, and now demon flips behind you, hits you in the back, and into a death combo. Like, do you understand? That's where I was just like, okay. But Akuma still needed to play neutral. There's no neutral in Tekken 8. There's no neutral in Tekken 8, okay? What neutral don't you have here but you had in Tekken 7?
What neutral don't you have here that you had in Tekken 7? Like, how much more disingenuous do you want to become, Adrian? How much more? Don't you think that it will eventually backtrack on you?
I feel like there's a lot of negativity surrounding Tekken 8 now. Well, obviously there is. I'm not gonna sit here and defend this game. Like, I think this game is 5 times better than Tekken 7. But
I'm not gonna sit here and defend this game. I think this game is 5 times better than Tekken 7. But that's only my opinion, right?
That's my opinion. And I guess I can see some of the criticisms people can have on it. I just don't see what this game does worse than Tekken 7, personally. But there's no neutral in this game. Like, you do realize neutral in Tekken 7 was a huge backdash.
A huge backdash that you wanted to have increased.
Sidestepping was quite weak in Tekken 7. So sidestepping is the most interesting part of 3D games, in my opinion.
That you can't use because the moves, properties are broken. Big hitboxes, broken mids that are plus, and homing. But you're talking about a game where you can't even sidestep, where you don't even have homing moves.
And sidestepping is way more interesting in Tekken than backdashing. Backdashing is the easiest option select. Sidestepping requires a lot of knowledge and a lot of patience. Sidewalk, wait out your opponent's attack. Like, people are good at sidestepping. They put a lot of effort into that.
It's also Season 1 Tekken 8 and not Season 2. Bro, when Season 2 came out, he was chilling hard. He was defending everything, bro. He was saying who is gonna use Dragunov's Wild Standing 1+2 launcher, I-12 in heat. Why would you block when you're in heat? He was saying that the head shit of Brian is unusable, the new one. He was saying, like, he was defending Season 2 in a way where he was starting to insult all of us and say that we have a hive mind and we have toxic negativity.
In Tekken 7, you backdash like this, and when you threw your... I mean, King didn't even use throws in that game. Just backdash and throw your super broken launcher like this. That's how largely every character played in that game. Just backdash, backdash, and then you go in and you do poking, very safe poking with checks like this. You had to keep it very short and tight because everyone threatened you with Magic 4, which would kill you at 11 frames. 11 to 12, 13 frames. Everyone did that. Everyone did. Boom, you died. Is that a better neutral than what Tekken 8 offers? I'm not terribly inclined to say that that was interesting.
Terribly inclined to say that was interesting. And now we go back to the admission stuff where you accuse people of using big words and pretend to be intellectual but not knowing what they are talking about. You are the prime example of that.
Every single character in the game played the same game plan.
Okay.
Backdash.
And now, all of a sudden, you are speaking about homogenization of Tekken characters. All of a sudden, while we were saying that, you said, yeah, Tekken 7 characters were all the same, and now in Tekken 8, they have so much uniqueness to them, right?
Backdash, 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 King, and then you picked Steve. Backdash, 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 back one. Backdash, 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 back one. And then I played Armor King. He was also free.
Yeah, he did.
Backdash, 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 back one. Backdash, 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 back one. And then I played Noctis. Backdash, 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 back one. Backdash, 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 back one. And then I played Kazumi. Jab, jab, Magic 4. Backdash, 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 Magic 4. Backdash, 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 Magic 4.
Fuck it.
Was that super interesting? Was that a super rewarding and amazing neutral? I don't know if I'm inclined to agree with you, right? There's a lot of criticisms thrown towards Tekken 8 where, like, I respect your opinion, but I'm just like, I don't see how that was fun or interesting. I mean, it was interesting for certain reasons, absolutely, but I just think Tekken 8 is way more fun here. And characters do more interesting things. Like,
maybe one day.
King, for example, doesn't have a backdash. That's never happened before. He literally can't backdash. So he has a Jaguar step instead, which is character unique. And he has a muscle armor to absorb.
Now he is a character. Now he has a Jaguar step, which is character unique, right?
Attacks and then counter attack. King is also incentivized to use his throws a lot in this game, rather than just do what everyone else does. He actually wants to use his throws.
Funny enough, when you were saying that King is a better counter hit character now than Steve, and that they completely disregarded his like identity, but here you say the exact opposite. Okay.
Put that on YouTube. Maybe someone responds why they hate Tekken 8. Oh, I'm sure. YouTube comments tend to be quite negative. I'm sure someone is gonna say, oh my god, forced 50-50, this and that. I just want to say, like, you're very entitled to your opinion.
Okay, then let me watch you fight against Victor again, cry for 20 minutes, wanting to block the opponent and saying, but what, I can't step, it's a legit 50-50, and cry me a river.
I would just say, like, if you play a game and you're constantly feeling like burnt out, or every time you play it you're just full of negative energy, I would do, like, maybe take a break, you know, take a break, come back to it and see if you feel better after some time. But the thing is, if you feel like Tekken 8, it just doesn't seem to be for you, just flush the game or take a break. I myself played Dead by Daylight quite religiously. I even made a YouTube channel, me, I made a YouTube channel for a new game, and I was like, yeah, whoa, I'm gonna become a DBD content creator as well. That's why I envisioned in my head, like, I love this game, it's so good. I almost liked it as much as Tekken. But then, I don't know, I've flushed that game like 5 times. Maybe you guys have felt this way about Tekken, right? Many of you seem to be very negative about Tekken. So it's like with Dead by Daylight,
Seem to be negative.
I deleted the game. Do you know why? Because I played the game for a month. No, I played the game for years. I started in 2021. But I found myself having like a month, like in a row. I would play daily for a month. And not a single day was it fun. Can you imagine playing a game for 30 days in a row and it's never fun? I was just like, why am I doing this to myself? I can't do this. You know what? I just feel negative energy when I play this game. So I just dropped it. And I couldn't agree on the balancing of the game. Like, at its core, Dead by Daylight is a fun game. But it's so poorly balanced. If you guys think this is a poorly balanced game. Oh, God.
You laughing is not making your point stronger, man.
So I just flushed the game. So maybe some of you might want to do that with Tekken. And I've seen this with Dota and League of Legends, etc. People have like a toxic addiction to their game. They hate it and they feel miserable when they play it, but they can't quit. It's like you're addicted to it. And I don't think you never want to have a relationship like that to a game. Because then what's the point? You're never gonna learn anyway. You're just like, what are you doing? Every time you play the game, you should have some enjoyment. And like, oh, I landed a clean counter hit. Oh, nice throw setup. Like, this is stuff I feel every time I play Tekken. I think that's a positive and healthy relationship to a game where you're like, every day you play it, sure, you can get annoyed. Who doesn't get annoyed playing PvP games, competitive ones? But every day you should also have a sense of like, oh God, that was nice, that was cool, nice. Otherwise you turn into one of these miserable people that can turn very toxic and salty, and you send hate mail to people. You see these people a lot in Dead by Daylight or Dota. And to me it's like, what are you...
Bro, you block people for playing too good. You block people for playing too good. You block people for playing specific characters. You start to insult people. You start to key charge them. Yeah, fuck this guy, seriously. And then you go on 20-minute rants. What are you talking about, man?
What are you doing here? Exactly. So I just wanted to say that, like, if you feel deeply miserable about Tekken 8, take a break. Come back to it. Or you know what? This game, perhaps it might not be for you, right? If you feel super negative all the time. I just think that they should improve the option select on wall 50/50s. The option select on wall 50/50s. I don't even know what that is, dude. Well, that's hard to do if you are a fighting game developer, because these days fighting games are like that. But one way would be giving every character a shove type move to just create distance. You mean this?
One of the biggest problems in the game, by the way. Heat burst. Everyone wants it nerfed.
You mean this? Which you have. Do you know how pros use this move? They don't use it to extend combos. Do you know why they save this? It's
yeah, why did he block Zidane? Why did he block Zidane?
Because in case something like this happens, they get launched like this. You see Nina taking damage here, right? Do you see that white bar? You see,
Zidane,
this
bro,
is what
Zidane.
they wait for with their heat.
Our
burst.
Zidane.
You just did a big combo. Half that damage is recoverable. They'll get back to their feet, try and block your mix-up, and if they block your mix-up, they immediately pop this, and this is the get off me. On hit, it's +2. On block, it's +1, meaning your jab is now uninterruptible. And here, they try and create pressure, because even on block, do you see my health? Do you see my health? You see this, right? Even on block and on hit, I will now recover health. right? It's a big old defensive shove button into then recover some of that damage you just dealt me with that combo.
I think he said it here on stream.
I can actually regain half of the damage you dealt me with that combo. It's like almost people have forgotten about this stuff. Do you actively pay attention to the fact that if you eat a combo, you can recover half of the damage? It seems it has evaded your memory, or you don't pay attention to it because it's a really, really big deal.
Yesterday?
That for the first time ever, like, combos have received a huge nerf. A huge nerf. And then you come here and tell me you need a shove.
It is an older video, but we are putting things into perspective to show his hypocrisy, because I'm gonna make a YouTube video out of this.
And then I'm like, what do you think pros do with this in tournaments? Or I do with this when I play ranked? It's exactly to break someone's momentum, because it's a super fast armor startup. That is always plus. And now you go into heat, and any recoverable health you get, heat is super generous, more so than in the neutral state, to give you health back, recoverable health, on block or on hit. It's true, but using heat to extend combos is problematic though. Is it really though? You mean like Heihachi does when you get a big combo like this? Yeah, but it's still risky.
Yo, Mado, every single day you write something obsessed with TMM, this and that. Brother, just don't watch me anymore. I have to do this. This is the biggest content creator. He is fucking all of us with his shill takes. He is backtracking. He is fucking lying all the time. Someone has to do it. I am gonna do it. Nova is gonna do it. Many people are gonna do it. And when you don't like it, just don't watch. You're gonna get banned here anyway. Leave. It's okay.
It's still risky, dude. You can't do this and then try and get a heat mix-up on your opponent standing up. Sure, but if this doesn't work out and your opponent defends correctly, he will do what I just described. He will pop this, and now he could knock you out of your heat, and now he's going to heat pressure you. And how many times have you seen a huge comeback in this game? Someone's eaten a lot of shit. He's at 20% health left. You've used your heat. He pops his heat and he fucking smokes you. How many times have you seen this in this game? Or you have a super strong rage art. The strongest rage art.
Cool position when you ban someone who disagrees in chat.
I don't know, it's just...
No, he is continuously trying to insult me indirectly. You don't have to watch. As simple as that.
I just feel like it's a little bit more complicated than people like to say, right?
So, the next video we can watch is Fighting Games Are Terrible Products. Do you want to watch this? The phidx. Yeah. If you wanna say I don't allow any other opinion in this channel, then this is a lie. But I will not like accept it when people are here for the sole reason of rage baiting. I don't have to do this. Why would I accept that? I don't accept it. You wanna rage bait here? You're gonna get banned. You wanna say an opinion contrary to what I say? Bring it on, write some arguments, and that's it. But if you think you're gonna just rage bait me, and I'm gonna sit here and get annoyed all day and just keep you here for the sake of fucking the vibe of everyone, then brother, you're clearly mistaken. That's not gonna happen.
Into fighting games and you've been online, you'll run into tons of people who seem to know the exact reason why fighting games aren't more popular.
I became too polite. Brother, you know me, I would say now the F word and maybe also call out a specific country. Obviously, I wouldn't do this, Twitch, please don't ban me. But as you know, I get banned all the time, bro. I got banned 10 times. What shall I do? This platform is soy.
than they already are. But for once, I've seen arguments put forward that actually make sense, and I think we may be on track to figuring out why fighting games are not as popular as they need to be. And, well, you saw this title and thumbnail, you'll know that the argument is that fighting games are bad video game products. And I want to share with you the article that lays out these arguments. Fighting games have a product design problem. This is written by Six Wheatbix, so if you're not familiar with this guy,
Can we take a small break? I need to go to the toilet and then we keep on watching. So wait a second. Okay, I'm back.
I'll introduce him in a second. Basically, it's a super long and well-written write-up. I want to give you some of the highlights of what I think the key points are, and then we'll finish off by reading the entire article, because I think the only way to really do this article justice and to understand his arguments is to go through the whole thing. But he has some really good points that I want to touch on initially. So the writer, Six Wheatbix, he is a developer and fighting game player, an enthusiast. So he's actually made the Waifu Wank website. This is a third-party Tekken website that has ELO for people around the world and leaderboards. The kind of thing we would hope that Tekken would have in-game. But yeah, it does all of this stat tracking of all your matches, and you get a little line graph of your progression. It's pretty cool stuff. He's also made the Waifu Wiki. So Tekken is known for not really having like a dust loop or any kind of a central resource.
Yeah, this is a great page.
Has for a long time spearheaded the effort to do this, even back in Tekken 7. He really cares about fighting games. He really cares about Tekken, and his article really reflects that passion. So before we get into the article, let me just point out some things I really enjoyed about it. Here's a key point. Many in the FGC are cynical about the broader gaming market, or just people in general. No team equals no excuses, so fighting games can never be popular like team games are. No RNG means it's too brutal to the ego, so fighting games can never be popular like card games, or they need skill flattening mechanics. Fighting games are just like RTS and arena shooters, all doomed genres, which people are brain rotted and need instant gratification.
I think instead of making fighting games easier, they should just be easier to be understood and not easier to be on the highest level. Just make the game easy. That makes no sense. You don't have to make a game easy. Make a game just easier to be understood, and they did a great job already. Like with the fucking, like the P mode is really insane. The replay mode is insane. Like everyone can learn Tekken. Just enjoy the roads. The problem is they think they need to give these people some sort of like elevator instead of using the stairs to reach the highest level. The highest level is called the highest level because it takes long time in order to reach it, but then you get gratification. But people want instant gratification, but this has never proven to be the correct path, especially for a fighting game that thrives from the fact that you can always become better. The story mode in a fighting game is the development of you as a player, and that's why it has so much replayability. The problem with Tekken 8 is the replayability is dead because we don't have anything to do. It's always the same dog shit. It's always the same dog shit.
So hard games can't be popular anymore. Dark Souls. Immediate counter-argument. The only hard games with any audience now are those with established legacies like Counter-Strike. It's impossible to compete with established players. You can't convince anyone to play anything not called Street Fighter. People won't play fighting games that aren't using an existing IP. And he has a great counter-argument right away. This perspective just doesn't hold up at all, with even a cursory glance at the broader market. Chess is a 1v1 game with no RNG. It has only gotten more and more popular over time, primarily due to Chess.com and Lichess, making the game more accessible. Hint, improved product design. Chess.com alone has 10 million daily active users. This should be the absolute minimum total addressable market for a gladiatorial competitive game. 1v1 game with no RNG. 10 million daily active users. Another argument, Counter-Strike players counts have gone straight up for 12 years straight. This must necessarily be new players entering the tactical shooter genre, not just the game getting a larger share of the existing market over time, because there's no competitor that has lost these players over the same period. No competing game. Another point, Valorant was able to compete with Counter-Strike with a brand new IP, right? Doesn't have League of Legends characters, and without any substantial skill flattening mechanics. Its main competitive edge was having better anti-cheat and having higher tick rate servers. They answered pain points that CS players had. And Deadlock is unapologetically difficult, combining the strategic complexity of MOBAs with the execution demands of precision movement shooters. It's a completely new IP and in an arguably completely new genre. While it's still an alpha, it has more players than every fighting game combined. Okay, so these FGC cynical arguments you hear all the time don't hold weight when you look at the wider gaming market. And so he also goes on later to say, what are fighting games lacking as products? And these points are all, they feel so simple at this point in 2026. Crossplay, single-player content,
he isn't, sorry, I thought he was. He said something yesterday about TMM.
Find evenly matched opponents.
Maybe I got it wrong.
Connections. Ranked systems that are accurate to player skill and not easily gamed. Tekken. Practice modes that make it easy to test and get comprehensive details about the core game mechanics. The thing he says about this is like table stakes. This is the bare minimum to have a good game product. This isn't even his key point. Right? So later on, he goes into specific details, and we'll read this in detail later, but I think his points are pretty good. The first one is to transplant the arcade into the digital realm. Providing the social experience of fighting games is something that these modern games, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and Strive, have all tried to do, but it could be better. And I think he highlights a lot of cool ways to do that. Another thing too is he talks about menus being a bit more interactive. Like you have to go into the menu of the game and then go into the fight lounge. Whereas if you think of like Dragon Ball FighterZ, when you boot into the game, you're immediately a little character and you teleport around to different areas to access the different modes, right? So I think that's a good idea that other games could pick up on. You quickly load into the hub or whatever, and you pick your game mode in a low headache type of way. I think that would be a really strong choice to make going forward. His second goal is a story mode that cultivates an appreciation for the game's depth. So not just, oh, the story's interesting, but it actually demands that you play the game. And he cites games like Elden Ring, Sekiro, Hollow Knight, Cuphead, where they front load a bunch of difficulty. They don't treat you like somebody who can't play video games. Because if you think about fighting games as being the development of skill, or like you getting stronger, then wouldn't it make sense that the story mode reinforces that, and you have to do story mode things in order to get better? He makes a lot of martial arts movie references that'll be more clear in context, but I think it's a well thought out argument. And then he talks about single player modes that aren't just like, oh, here's a beat 'em up mode like Tekken Force, which I like those modes, but he brings up a good point here. If the fighting game had training routines, kind of like rhythm game charts, or like mini games where you like every successful Korean backdash gives you more points or a high score, that strikes the balance between sweaty ranked mode and kind of total brain off story mode, right? Where it doesn't involve the game's mechanics at all. These modes
Actually, I think if they would have made Tekken 8 story mode much harder, it would have been much better. So in order to finish the story mode, you're kind of forced to learn the game a little bit. And then you go into P mode in order to clear the next chapter. I feel like the story mode is so sloppy and so easy. It doesn't have really time of investment. Yeah, no, even if you up the difficulty, it's not really real difficulty. The AI just does better combos or something. Like, I feel like it should then start to do frame traps and things like this. And I feel like if they would make that, it would be better. The story mode is for casuals, I think. Yeah, but you can still make... Bro, people play story modes and they are hard and they are stuck in some stages. Do they stop playing the game instantly? I don't think so. I think the story mode should be the stepping stone into the 1v1. Because that's what the fighting game lives off. Normally this is how... You don't need a story mode for people that just want to enjoy slop. You can't maintain that audience. There is no point for those types of people. Just make a story mode that gives you a stepping stone into the real deal. That's much better in my opinion.
If they give you a little dopamine for doing things successfully, blocking and punishing, or doing really complex defensive movements, that would be a good option. It takes a lot of work, but it's different from just practice mode where you're in a sandbox, right? Having actual routines given to you, like served on a plate, gives you something to engage with that isn't building your own drill every single time and not getting any feedback outside of, I'm feeling better about developing these skills. And then he talks about something that seems so obvious, just dress up and character customization, which we know is popular, but I didn't even think about it in this context, where Dress to Impress in Roblox has been the most popular game mode there for 2 years. We have that kind of history in fighting games. Soul Calibur's character customization is amazing, and now that games are more online, this feels like a very untapped game mode idea.
Do you think the customization mode in Tekken 8 is good? Because I didn't play Tag Tournament 2, but we did a few Tag Tournament 2 streams, and then I was astonished by how creative, like, the customizations were. Okay, to be fair, most people just did swastikas. But you know what I mean. Tekken Tag Tournament 2, you had much more possibilities.
And he brings that up too. And like, I played Final Fantasy XIV also, and he mentions how even though the dress-up features are kind of underdeveloped, it still is a huge point of engagement for players, to the point where people will just go in and dress up. You know what I mean? Like, not even there to play the majority of the game. And yeah, Souls fashion is extremely popular. All of those are really good key points, and I'll put up chapter markers and timestamps so you can kind of keep track of where we are, because the read, again, is pretty significant.
Yeah, Tekken 7 was terrible.
Once again, Wheatbix putting together an absolutely amazing write-up.
I think it's not S. I think it's just
give you the
mid.
Quick highlights early.
You know, it's mid.
Let's get into reading about it. Fighting games in 2026 are floundering, with everything not called Street Fighter 6 relegated to the trash bin of history. The worst and most likely outcome is that other studios look at this.
Bro, that is basically the life of Tekken 8, bro. That is basically the life of Tekken 8. The game is just mid. You know, like a medium ugly girl. Don't ban me, Twitch, I'm sorry. But, you know, it's just mid, bro. It's just there. You know, it's just there. It's mid. Everything is mid. The gameplay is mid. Everything is just mid.
Genre, and try to mimic it to regain some relevance. This will predictably fail, and the genre's future will ultimately be at the mercy of Street Fighter 7. I present another path forward. One that would allow the genre to genuinely evolve into something greater, rather than follow its current path of devolution into mediocrity and irrelevance. This vision is born from the following observations, which I will argue for. Number 1.
She's a 5, but she thinks she's a 9.
Roughly a tenth of their potential audience. Number 2. Changing the core game mechanics will have almost no effect on the genre reaching this potential, which is probably a hot take to a lot of people, but the way he lays it out, I think it makes sense. Number 3, there are multiple other dimensions the genre can and must evolve along in order to reach this audience. First section here is a bit of history about video games and the fighting game era. Fighting games peaked in the early 90s. In this era, almost everyone who played video games had played fighting games. By the end of...
You know why fighting games used to peak? Because fighting games had a GTA vibe. You know, there was no political correctness. It was like... you didn't have these quotas where you need to have a specific type of character and then you have like Leo and all this shit. Oh my god. Like, Tekken 3. That vibe. Tekken 3, you played for the vibe first. The vibe. That vibe was something else. MK, that vibe was something else. Tekken 4, that vibe was something else. Tekken 5, still that vibe was something else. But then, with Tekken 6, it started. I swear to God, Tekken 6, people say the game was amazing. But Tekken 6 was the moment where when you're on a train rails, then it starts to deviate from its path. Like, it's starting to go into that dog shit direction. And that kept on going, and now we reach like the peak of it. We really did reach the peak of it. Like, how is it that I hate every character, man? What is this? How can they even create a game where you hate everyone? You can't tell me, in all seriousness, that you don't hate to fight against 80% of the cast, bro. Come on, man. You hate everyone. What is that?
The decade, there were new genres developing.
And you have a
Quake
point.
and StarCraft, but the accessibility of the arcade.
I don't understand what Medusa means by that. What exactly, what part of it don't you understand? Just ask me directly.
Could not be matched. You didn't need a LAN party or a dial-up internet to play against other players. They were just there. It also came with a built-in social environment that naturally addressed many of the issues modern fighting game players face, such as feeling lost, unable to improve, or ranked anxiety. If you were having trouble, there was someone right there who had already been through it all and could talk you through it. But by the turn of the millennium, the competition from PCs and home consoles had ramped into full gear. Counter-Strike 1999 evolved the FPS genre into a team-based, more social experience.
What was the thing in Tekken 7 that made it the turning point? Why did it start getting bad there? It started getting bad because they decided to throw off the risk-reward ratio in the sense of, or the drawbacks to the strengths. For example, they started to introduce characters like Lars and Alisa, where they're thinking like, hey, the character is easy to play, but at least he is also very broken. That feeling, what you have now continuously with Tekken 8, with fucking Claudio, Asuka, you choose a character, it is already way easier to play than everyone else, but on top of that, it's also way stronger. Just you max out all the parameters, and then now you have a shit game, and you don't want to play it anymore. This is where, with Tekken 6, it started. And then they started to introduce new mechanics to reduce the skill gap with power crushes and things like this. And all the new mechanics that you see are basically just there to take away from the better player, so you get a little bit closer to him, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And now you have people in GOD ranks and even in GOD 1 where you be like, how the fuck did he reach this rank? It is because of the historical degradation of skill expression in Tekken. And that started with Tekken 6. But Tekken 6 was still far away from what we have now, so you would consider it very good. Which I understand. But it got worse and worse and worse and worse. And Tekken 7 is even worse than Tekken 6. Kunimitsu, Noctis, Katarina. All these characters were easy as fuck, but broken as shit. You couldn't do anything. Zafina, Marduk. And that creates frustration. And frustration is not good for a game. Why would you create a game that is frustrating?
Halo 2001 and Xbox Live 2002 brought online matchmaking to the console. Grand Theft Auto 3 2001 dominated the industry, creating the 3D open-world genre almost entirely from scratch. World of Warcraft 2004 offered a persistent social world with endless progression. The Cambrian explosion, I had to look that up. The Cambrian explosion was like prehistoric event. He's a really good writer, so hold on. Here's what he's referencing. Interval of time approximately 538 million years ago, a sudden radiation of complex life occurred and all major animal phyla started appearing in the fossil record. Evolutionary Big Bang is my takeaway from that. The Cambrian explosion of video games from around 1998 to 2005 can't be overstated. Every genre was being pushed in every possible direction. New genres are being invented from thin air. Not only that, the home console and the internet made them far more accessible, allowing people to play whatever they want from the comfort of their own home. Many fighting games from this period are considered by fans of the genre as the best of all time. Here are the stats, but you know, we see Melee, Tekken 5, Soul Calibur 2, Tekken Tag 1, Marvel 2, Third Strike, insanely popular games from this era. However, despite this critical acclaim, the genre's gross revenue declined over this period. While they weren't commercial failures by any measure, none of them came close to Street Fighter II's 15 million unit sales and $1.5 billion in revenue. I did not know Street Fighter II made that much. Tekken 5, while much more successful than 4, still lagged behind Tekken 3's sales. At the same time, the gaming industry as a whole experienced explosive growth, with World of Warcraft alone making 1 to 1.5 billion yearly.
So here is the problem also. A lot of people don't take this into account. Sometimes the growth of a game is not due to the changes they made to the game, but due to the changes made to the industry. When an industry grows, gaming franchises grow with it. Meaning that when they would have released Tekken 5 in this day and age, it would explode, okay? It would literally explode. Then they said Tekken 7 had helped the game out of the mud. That was because of Steam. When Tekken went over to Steam and it got a broader audience, it thrived from the fact that you now have access to a broader audience, and the gaming industry in itself was exponentially growing by the amount of people that would actually play video games. So you have to definitely take that into account and say like, okay, why did Tekken Tag Tournament 2 fail? Tekken Tag Tournament 2 didn't fail because of the game itself, it was because of the era it released in. Tekken 7 succeeded because of the era it was released in. In Tekken 7, everyone was glued to their screen. You couldn't go out. COVID. It changed the industry.
More than 2 to 3x the entire fighting game genre. The numbers are insane. I have not seen them presented like this. This stagnation went largely unnoticed at the time. Most major titles in the subsequent 2006 to 2013 period were all more of the same. Lots of attention paid to the core game mechanics and little else. Many games had big departures in game mechanics from their previous titles, notably Street Fighter IV compared to Third Strike. These changes were not necessarily good or bad. Some were appreciated by fans, some weren't. But to even bother debating if, say, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is an improvement is pointless. There's no world in which it was getting people to play it who weren't still playing MVC2. There was no evolution, only refinement. It took upstarts in the genre with brand new IPs like Skullgirls and Killer Instinct, 2012 and 2013, to even attempt to make the genre playable online. 10 years after the rest of the industry was all in on online gaming. But these games lacked the resources and industry know-how to produce something genuinely competitive in the wider market. Thus, they didn't bring new players into the genre. Fighting game players are the only people who have ever heard of them. They were functionally tech demos for one singular thing that the sclerotic genre had been failing to deliver on. I know none of you know what that word means, because I didn't either. Sclerotic means becoming rigid or unresponsive, losing the ability to adapt. Fire word, not gonna lie. Like, we're all getting so much smarter reading this. At this point, the commercial failure of the genre of fighting games was undeniable. Not only did its revenues continue to shrink, but the rest of the industry continued to grow. Fighting game developers panicked, attempting to reinvent themselves to evolve with the times, but they continued to do so in the only way they knew how: changing the core game mechanics. All right, so that is what, 2006 to 2013, talking about a bunch of revenue. Games are going bigger, fighting games are getting smaller. So now he's talking about 2014 to 2020.
You know, I do think with fighting games, it's a little bit different than with other games. I don't think fighting games need to reinvent themselves. I think they need to recrystallize what makes the people like the game and what makes the people don't like the game. Reduce the parts that you don't like and increase the parts that you like. If they would have done it with Tekken 7, and we would have gotten a refined Tekken 7 for Tekken 8, bro, we would have been much more happier than what we got now with all the new mechanics, the identity, the core of the game is just something else, you know? It is something else, and the problem with this something else is that the parts that we liked got diminished, and the parts that we didn't like got increased.
This subsequent period of around 2014 to 2020 was the dark ages of fighting games. Sales were so abysmal that many developers were sideshows to their own publisher's mobile gacha slopware. The common view is that Street Fighter V was so bad that it brought the whole...
Actually, we are losing player base in Tekken 8. I don't know if we are losing player base. I think the player base gets changed a little bit for a new audience, and the old audience kinda withers away. But that is not what you want to do with the game. You want to maintain the old audience and gain new people to it in order to expand it and not just stagnate and change the color of the people, for example. Now, the problem is this. Tekken 8 success is so shit when you take into consideration that it's coming out in a time where Bandai Namco was reaping the benefits of Tekken 7. A game that was 8 years old and kept on growing. A game that had no money poured into it. The game was bare bones. They had no money for advertisement. Everything was reduced to its minimum. Tekken 8 comes out and now you have WWE, Nike, fucking Chipotle, Kazuya shades, new Air Max for Jin, and all this fucking dog shit, and the game is doing horrible for the money poured into it because it got introduced to a much broader audience than before. But could it maintain that many people? No, it couldn't. Because the product itself was ass.
Genre down with it, but this is a misdiagnosis. It was the inevitable result of continuing to pretend that they were still in the arcade era, that the core gameplay was the only thing that mattered. The games of this era are not that bad in terms of gameplay. Many would argue that games such as Tekken 7, Guilty Gear Xrd, Mortal Kombat X, and Soul Calibur 6 have the best gameplay.
And this is also very funny. For example, when we were talking about movement in Tekken 8, then phidx said, yeah, but Tekken 7 was boring. We were just running away into one knockdown mid and then follow up, and that was it. And then up forward one that counted. Yeah, that applied only to a 10% of the player base because they would play your character. The character that you see on screen right now, Noctis Lucis Kylum, is literally Tekken 8 in a nutshell. The guy played this game, he fucked Arslan Ash, had a pop-off and all this shit. His career went through the roof. The rest is history. But how they want to portray Tekken 7 contrary to Tekken 8 is just a lie, and it is gaslighting. Because that truth of yours only apply to yourself. We did not play that game that you did play.
Those series have to offer. They were, however, completely unfit as products in the broader gaming market. And this is the entire thesis, right? Doing a ton of core mechanic work and creating poopy products over and over and over again. Yeah, this is up for debate, right?
That's
the Tekken 7 thing is up for debate.
phidx, be respectful.
The point is poopy products.
But did I call him a son of a bitch?
Many in the FGC are cynical about the broader gaming market or just people in general. I read through this in the intro.
What I said was
so I don't
reasonable.
think we need to rehash it here, but I think the key point is that these are all huge arguments you see all the time. Of course, most people don't have the temperament to play fighting games. They aren't for everyone. But there's over 8 billion people on this planet. You don't need to appeal to all of them. Even if only 1 in 1,000 people have this temperament, and this is absurdly pessimistic, that's still 8 million people you could be appealing to. The goal is not appealing to everyone.
It's okay, he meant you guys.
Fit. Very
Ash it out with
There is one more argument people make for why fighting games can never grow out of their current niche. Fighting games won't get better because the FGC is so negative. Everyone is so eager to shit on every big patch and every new fighting game that comes out and kill the hype. If everyone was more positive and actually gave indie fighting games an honest chance, it'd show developers that there's a market for something that isn't Street Fighter. A community leader deciding to soften their criticisms of game or the genre with the goal of growing the community is effectively behaving as unpaid marketing for the video game developers. If your brains started going off here thinking of me You're not alone. I actually thought about this too. I don't mean this dismissively. I've done plenty of this myself. There's nothing wrong with this. But as a contribution to the business, that is what this is, marketing. And it's pure hubris to think that marketing, and specifically the type of marketing you can contribute to the business, can so strongly override the customer's actual experience with the product.
Yeah, but with Tekken 8, the problem here is they tell you we go left and then the patch comes out and they go right. There is no possibility to not be negative in such an environment. Impossible. They tell you we're gonna make a defensive patch and then they make an offensive one. You can only be mad. There is no other possibility. When you don't be mad in those moments, that's the wrong time. You need to be negative when there is a reason for it to be negative. That's just a rule of life. You can't be positive when the environment is negative. If you are positive in a negative environment, you are enforcing the negativity even further, sending signals. This is the right direction. Please give us more and shit in my face. Like, I can't fucking sit there, someone shit in my face, and then tell him to pee also one more time.
And this is a phenomenal point, but I'll just let him continue. This is a quote from Steve Jobs. Customers don't form their opinion on quality from marketing. They form their opinions on quality from their own experience with the products or the services. One can spend enormous amounts of money on quality marketing, and yet if your products don't live up to it, customers will not keep that opinion for long in their minds. Now again, quality isn't just the product or the service, it's having the right...
Bro, who cares? It's just words on screen. Stop being soft. What do you mean, bro? Huh? Who cares? If we don't care, let's end the stream and call it a day and all go sleep. We care it because it's about fighting games. Let's just care. Why? What's the problem with caring about it?
Product, you know, knowing where the market's going and having the most innovative products is just as much a part of quality as the quality of the construction of the product when you have it. Now you might think this is a bit reductive, that in fact most people are not even trying the games at all, that they're merely copying opinions from other people on social media. They never had their own experience with the product. For these people, more marketing might move the needle a little. Sure, it's not an outlandish thesis. I invite you to consider the case study of StarCraft 2. In 2026, we know this game is a bad product. The player counts dwindle year over year, but the game's downfall was predictable and predicted as far back as 2012. But this is a quote from Neo Destiny on Reddit.
Can you guys do me a favor? Because even if you mean someone in the chat, can you at least clarify what you're trying to say? Because most of you... it's like you're speaking into a void. No one really knows what you're trying to say, and then you get attacked for no reason. Just like clarify a little bit what you mean. It's really not that hard.
Talking about how Blizzard basically is responsible for improving the game, not the content creators. How do we grow StarCraft 2? You can't. This sounds like a dick answer, but I'm going into full-on asshole mode for this one. The people telling you that emailing sponsors to thank them for supporting teams, etc., and that it's really helping the scene are lying to you or are delusional. There is only one person right now who can grow StarCraft 2 in the way it needs to grow. One entity, rather. Blizzard. StarCraft 2 is suffering from a lot of problems. It has been from the very beginning, but Blizzard has failed to address them time and time and time again. They are continually proving themselves utterly incompetent when it comes to managing a game as a competitive sport backed by a casual community. The article linked is StarCraft 2 will be dead before Legacy of the Void if Blizzard doesn't change its course. These criticisms were not invented by Destiny. They were product issues many customers had voiced already, but Destiny was the only loud voice willing to champion them. Some of his suggestions are now dated. For example, custom maps in 2026 could never compete with Roblox. While maybe good ideas in 2012, the gaming market has since become far more competitive, so even with all these suggestions, StarCraft 2 would still be a bad product in 2026. But if Blizzard had actually made it a good product
Medusa, do you ban people in chat for typing retarded? Brother, if it was up to me, you could say every slur in the fucking book, but you can't do it. I don't ban people for these words, no.
In 2026. That's a long footnote, but you know, it's valid.
But do it
Every
on
other
YouTube.
community figure thought that
Twitch
loudly voicing these
bans
criticisms
you.
would make them self-fulfilling. They decided to spend all their energy and effort into talking only about how great StarCraft 2 is, with the theory that this positive community sentiment would translate into growing the game. Does this sound familiar? And you know what? Fair game to them. They did a truly admirable job of this. The early StarCraft 2 era of content creation was one of the most innovative, forward-thinking, and genuinely motivational in gaming history. These people more or less pioneered live streaming and esports content creation, and yet, it didn't move the needle in the slightest. The game is still on life support. Meanwhile, the competitors that ate its lunch by being better products, League of Legends and Dota 2, are thriving despite having what are widely considered the most toxic communities in all of gaming. Okay, so this is an important wrap up too. He's talking about the toxic FGC community, and he's also talking about marketing with positivity. Anybody who has seen my stuff on the internet probably has an opinion about this. My take is somewhere in the middle. You can't get past the Steve Jobs point that quality through experience will always override whatever marketing got you into the thing in the first place, right? But I think that there's a lot of people simultaneously who won't get into Tekken because of the negativity around it. So is negativity responsible, like the sole reason why the games won't thrive? No, because we've seen League of Legends and Dota 2. But it is being positive about the game is good marketing, and it gets more people to try the game. I don't think many of the streamers who tried Tekken 8 right as it came out would have tried it if the only voices at the time were dooming about it. My main take on making positive content is that I want to attract an audience of people who like doing the things that I like doing. It's more energizing, it's more fun. I don't like the idea of creating an audience or a following of people who are just angry and just want.
So this is something that I have to add towards this. They say this community is toxic, for example, FGC is toxic, this and that. Yeah, but what do you expect the people to do? The people are crying for over a century now that the direction you're going into is wrong. And then you keep on reinforcing that direction and not listening to your audience, okay? Then you make a patch where you do the opposite of what you claim. And then you are surprised that the community is toxic. And then on top of that, while the community is toxic and negative, you tell the people, hey guys, basically, we don't know how to balance this game on our own. Please use Twitter and use hashtag Tekken8 report and write all your criticism into the timeline. Everyone criticizes different characters, people feel offended, and then the toxicity gets even worse. Yeah, what did you expect? You don't pay us, we are supposed to balance the game for you, and then you block the people that give you the criticism that you asked for. In that environment, you cannot expect anything else but toxicity. There is no other way.
Want to hate on something. So creating appeal for activities that I enjoy is really one of the main benefits for making positive content. I think it's just more fun and it's less draining. And it's at this point I think we get to the real meat of the article. I think that this is where we really dive into detailed arguments of how we can make these things better. Every fighting game has had countless systemic changes to its core game mechanics throughout history in attempts to evolve the genre. Everything from removed emotion inputs, cooldowns on specials, auto combos, simpler resource management, gimped assist mechanics to degenerate set play, highly complex motions, absurd movement tech, reduced input buffer, frame perfect defensive mechanics, 6-way tag makes, full screen assist hitboxes, one-touch setups. All of it's been tried. None of it, in any direction, has had any noticeable impact on commercial success. I think it's debatable with Tekken 7, but let's keep reading. The current fashion, everything from Guilty Gear Strive to Tekken 8 to Marvel Tokon, is all about simplifying as much as possible to make the game more approachable, sanding off all the jagged edges, removing obscure tech to make the experience more refined. Street Fighter 6 is the most systemically homogenized game in the franchise. Tekken 7 also did this too. I think that's important to know. For many in the FGC, this trend is a waking nightmare. The game's off.
So this is what I think they should do instead also. What the developers do currently is they add bloat to the game in order to make it easier. But you don't make a game more accessible by making it brain dead and adding more bloat to it. Like all these new mechanics and the power crush and the rage art and the heat burst and the heat dash and the this and the that and the heat smash. All these things add bloat, okay? So now you have bloat, and bloat is annoying to deal with. Getting into that requires a lot of time, and then when you get into it, it's not deep. You see? It is a very superficial system that has 2 layers to it, and it doesn't go beyond a second layer. So why do you do this? Instead of taking away the unnecessary stuff, making the game more accessible by making it more easier to understand, by using your P modes, the replay function, all these things that you did well, because they did some good things, obviously. But stop adding more things for no reason. Why would you create a game and then after the first year give every character 5 new moves with broken properties that everyone don't know how to deal with, even the best players in the world?
suck. The genre is ruined. I'm sympathetic to the criticism, but it's a little histrionic. You guys know that word? I guarantee you don't. Histrionic is overly dramatic or emotional of or relating to actors. You can kind of tell from the context. All right. Smart ass. These critics worry about a problem that developers are all but eager to solve. As with all fashion trends, this one will pass. Eventually, the games will be too simple and there will be a hunger to put the complexity back in, with plenty of design space left for it. This trend is predictable. Just as predictable as it is that none of the upcoming titles, Tekken 2XKO, will be relevant outside of the current FGC niche. None of this is to say that the core game mechanics don't matter. They matter a great deal. Games need depth to keep players around past the 100th hour. But that is worth nothing if nobody ever gets to that 100th hour in the first place. If you can't even get people in the door, the quality of the food is irrelevant. The marketing pitch of every fighting game since the end of the arcade era. We've changed the game to appeal to you. Now please come play. 25 years of this failing is enough. We need to get serious. Changing the core game mechanics will not save us. This is both a blessing and a curse. It means developers can stop chasing trends and overreacting to vocal outsiders who can never be pleased. They're free to design their game with a bold vision and respect for the genre. But it also means they can no longer neglect making their games complete pieces of software. They have to put the work in on the much less glamorous goal of product design. Pretty compelling, huh? All right, the meat. What are fighting games lacking as products? This is the burning question. It's an indictment of the genre's developers that there are so many obvious answers. Crossplay, single-player content, functional anti-cheat, functional online netcode, matchmaking systems that quickly find evenly matched opponents with good connections, ranked systems that are accurate to player skill and not easily gamed, practice modes that make it easy to test and get comprehensive details about the core game mechanics. These are table stakes for competitive video games made in the last 25 years. They're not at all sufficient for a good product, but they are required. You could ask any jabroni at EVO what fighting games need, and they would tell you this, and they would be right. Is that not absurd? Usually, in a man-on-the-street interview, you'd expect some absurdly niche answer that doesn't make any sense, or just total nonsense pie-in-the-sky requests for infinite features and a $0 price tag. But for fighting games, the products are so bad that there are million-dollar bills being left on the floor that anyone can see. For the most part, these answers amount to, make it so I can actually play the fucking game.
You know what I noticed though? There's one thing that the Tekken community specifically does very well. For example, if a guy like K-Dash, you know K-Dash, right? He writes the most absurd thing, defending the most absurd mechanics in the game about Lars and his stomp, and talks about basics. And then I like it when the pro players take a strong stance that have respect in the community and say, listen, chat, what this guy is saying is basically horse shit. And he is getting cooked. You need to have this, because if everyone just runs rampant that don't understand anything about the game, K-Dash doesn't understand anything, then you have a problem. But because the community checks itself, that is very good. The only thing that you can maybe criticize is maybe they call him a little bit too much retard and this and that, and they attack him very hard. Maybe do it a little bit softer so that the other people don't start to give him shit and call his mother things and stuff like this. But yeah, people like this have to get checked. They have to get checked.
And it's like, duh, making it easier for people to actually play your game sounds like kind of obvious. That was natural passion. I cannot believe that this is still a thing. Like, DOA 6 doesn't have crossplay. DOA 6 last round, the re-announcement. However, I would have wasted your time if those were the only answers I had. You've heard all that before. I'm here to make the real bull case, to convince you that we can get that 10x, to convince developers that it's worth investing in this cursed genre. To get there, we gotta look deep in our...
Can you ban Kicking Machine? He's annoying. I heard you said 5 times you are my father, bro. I got it. I am very close to call you very bad things, but I remember today is Ramadan, so may Allah guide you. And that's it.
Souls and ask, what exactly is the point of fighting games? Why should I play these games instead of all the other games out there? I have never seen a serious answer to this question. I have, however, seen some surprisingly uninspired answers. Fantasy Strike says it's all about Yomi, man. It's all about, like, the mind games, dude. He thought I was gonna do scissors, but I, like, totally did paper. A more articulate answer comes from Combo Fiend, one of the FGC old heads hired to work on 2XKO. If you were to actually think about it, these characters are just functions. They're just doing things. Magneto, case in point, is a favorite because he has an 8-way dash and he's really fast, right? So our most technical players, all they want to do is triangle jump and that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Nova can do the same thing. Captain Marvel can do the same thing. Ultron can do the same thing. Go ahead and try them out. New. It's just the function that people are associating with the character, and there's no shortage of that. We made sure that all proper playstyles can be represented with our current roster. The design team has been looking at that very closely. We wanted to make sure that if a legacy character doesn't happen to make the roster this time, that playstyle would still be represented. That somebody who has associated themselves with Magneto wouldn't be lost coming into this title, 2xKL. This is the sort of answer that only someone way too deep in the sauce can give. I'm sorry, what? I only want to play Magneto because of his 8-way dash? Have you considered that maybe it's because Magneto is a badass motherfucker with a sick helmet who bends metal with his mind? Do you think phidx really likes to play Lily, Cammy, and Nina because of how they function? Sorry, enough beating a dead horse. The irony of that, is twofold. First of all, that's funny. I don't play Nina because I think her functions are actually too hard. I actually don't think Nina's functions fit me. So I avoid playing her even though I like everything about her design. So it's actually the opposite of what Combo Fiend said. People just want to play functions. I actually don't want to play Nina's functions. I think they're cool, but I don't think, I don't think I'm ready. The funny part about that too is that he's right about appeal and identity. Because I started Tekken playing Law because I liked Bruce Lee. I thought Horong was cool because he kicked a lot. Those are my two characters in Tekken 3. When I played like other Tekken games, it was like Lars in Tekken 6 or Noctis in Tekken 7, right? Like I was drawn to characters because of their appeal, not because of their function. All the characters play pretty differently. I picked Lily in Tekken because Speed recommended it to me. Speed Kicks, when I was looking for a competitive character at the time. And Lily actually fit the archetype of character I was looking for, surprisingly. And Cammy because I thought Punk was cool. Of all the characters in Street Fighter I watched, I thought Punk's was the coolest to watch, and Cammy also, fit this common theme. But it's pretty funny that he put me in there. So what is he saying? His initial answer to what exactly is the point of fighting games was the question we were at before we got sidetracked. And here's his initial answer. A fighting game makes you feel like the main character in an action movie. Now, have you ever wondered why every fighting game player loves Jackie Chan movies? Sure, but everyone loves Jackie Chan. Rush Hour made $244 million. Yeah, and 13 other movies that year made more than that. And that was the Americanized, commodified Jackie Chan. How much money do you think Drunken Master made? That movie that inspired countless classic fighting game characters. The appeal of fighting games is inseparable from that of stylized wushu, kung fu, wuxia, etc. cinema. This is critical to understand. It's what separates the genre from your typical man-with-gun action game. In a man-with-gun story, the hero's power comes from his weapon. It's outside of the self. Now, he's gonna go in the weeds here, okay? So just stay on track. Fighting game makes you feel like a main character in an action movie. But Ryu has Fireball. That's like a gun, right? No, Ryu's Fireball might have the same function as a gun, being a projectile weapon, albeit slower moving. But the source of his power, the thing that made the Fireball exist, is within Ryu himself. It was not some tool he had in his belt, standard issue to every other Marine in his platoon. It's a mystical martial technique he spent years mastering. In a martial arts narrative, the source of the character's power must come from within. Following from this, the source of the player's power must also be embodied. It too must come from within, because the player is the character. If you remove this association, the game's ethos reverts to that of a man-with-gun narrative. It's a fundamentally different genre. So here's a refined answer. A fighting game makes you feel like the main character in a martial arts movie. How does this relate to product design? Remember, knowing the market is just as much a part of quality as the quality of the construction of the product when you have it. The Steve Jobs quote. A perfectly designed game is worthless to someone who doesn't want to play it. Deeply knowing the archetypal narratives and themes that resonate with the target market informs how the product is designed. Here are some archetypal narratives of the genre, so things that fighting games could tap into. The rival schools. Two martial arts schools or clans clash over territory, honor, or ideology. Even the weakest members can become involved in the conflict. Fist of Fury or Fearless. The student's journey. External forces thrust a young, untrained student into martial training. Originally a means to an end, the student comes to appreciate the art for its own sake. The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, Drunken Master. The reluctant hero, a retired fighter or pacifist, is forced to fight. A touch of Zen, Ip Man, and the Speed Kicks versus Avery first to 10 when we crowdfunded $1,100. Reluctant hero. The tournament. Fighters of different styles and from different regions gathered to compete for glory. Power.
Okay, boys, I think I'm gonna call it a day now. I hope you enjoyed the reaction stream. It was a very good stream. Thank you for the YouTube boys. Thank you for the Twitch guys. I made a good stream today. You made it enjoyable. And that's it. I need to go pray also a little bit now. and then take a shower. So, the good old over and out.